All right. Yaga, you know what it is. Notion Open Eye Radio about to get right in a few minutes. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all catching us load up. Hey, we on time or a little bit on or off of time, but we on time. All time. What's good? We had a nice time at Northside Day. We performed Implosion on Fire.
Those of us that know it were complete intellectual models don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation. We do so because change is precious to be difficult to Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah. I'm your host, the third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs, and of course joined by my intellectual surgeon, Nsoromma. What's up, brother?
Yeah. What's good, homie? What's good?
Oh, it's all good. We got a lot for him today.
Hello, world.
Yes, indeed. Glad you joined us.
What's up?
Well, first I gotta start out with some PSAs, some public service announcements.
Right here last week too, my brother.
Oh yeah, yes indeed. Yeah. Brother was on the case last week, getting ready for his performance at Northside.
Yeah.
Yes,
Northside for Life Day. Yeah.
Northside for Life Day. I'm sure everybody there enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard that Nsoromma and Smooth rocked the crowd. That's word.
Anyway, we later do that.
That's word.
Nsoromma
and Smooth, known as Implosion.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. On all platforms. Make sure y'all check them out.
Yeah.
That's the word. All right. Okay. Harper's Heart presents SIDS Prevention and Toddler Safety Course. Get a free car seat and pack and play after completion of the course. 12 noon to 3 p.m. Lunch and free childcare will be provided. On-site registration starts at 12. That's today. August the 13th is open to the first 100 families with children 0 to 24 months old. That's today at the Chase Center on the riverfront. All right. You don't want to miss that. Help you out. Okay. Real Talk for Teenagers. Back to School, hosted by Kingdom Connectors. Okay, that will be Saturday, September 17th. I'm going to give you another reminder on that. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2:30. It's going to be at the Route 9 Innovation Library. That's 3022 Newcastle Avenue in Newcastle, Delaware. Mental health for teens. This seminar is open to teens ages 12 to 18, parents, and educators. Panel discussions and breakout sessions will be conducted on topics of bullying, abuse, violence, death, low self-esteem, and depression. According to the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, 73.8% of children from age 3 to 17 years old struggle with mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety. Okay, you don't want to miss that. Like I said, I will remind you if you got time. It's next month, Saturday, September 17th. Okay. All right. Let's get it on. As you know, on the Open Eye, I start you off with some history.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. I got a couple of pieces for you. The first thing I want to start you off with is how slimy these people
Slimy?
slimy.
I remember I used that word was back in the day. That was a serious word back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Slime.
Yeah, that's where Nsoromma usually says, "Oh, that's messy."
That's messy.
Yeah, that's indeed. These people are evil in their messiness. Okay. North Carolina, a lot of you may not have known this.
Okay.
Had a eugenics program where the sole purpose was to breed out black. Over 7,600 African American men and women were forcibly sterilized between the years 1929 and 1974, making them a generation of people that were not able to reproduce or even conceive children. Between 1929 and 1974, I had to count on my fingers here, that's like 40 years.
Wow. 40
years they did that to black people in their time. Damn. What the man? So, okay. Let's get on with some history. Have you ever heard of Zumbi dos Palmares?
Zumbi dos Palmares?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I'm not mad at anybody for not having heard of this. And of course, we'll cover why in just a few minutes here. Okay. Palmares was a fugitive community of escaped slaves and others in colonial Brazil that developed from 1605 until suppression in 1694. During this time, the vast majority of the enslaved Africans who were being brought to Brazil were from Angola. The Africans began building small communities in the inaccessible region of Palmares. There were 9 major settlements and many smaller ones ruled by a king. These people were from Angola in Africa. Accounts tell us that the kingdom was named Angola Janga, which according to the Portuguese meant Little Angola. Members of the king's family ruled other settlements, suggesting an incipient royal family. He also had officials and judges, as well as a more or less standing army. Angola Janga was legendary for its size and power. An independent, self-sustaining kingdom, Palmares was vast and at its height hosted a population of over 30,000 free black men, women, and children. By 1679, the Portuguese were sending military expeditions into Brazil from 1680 to 1694. The Portuguese and the Africans waged a constant war of greater or lesser violence. The Portuguese government finally brought in the famed Portuguese military commanders, Domingos Jorge Velho and Bernardo Vieira de Vilo. In 1694, Cerco do Macaco. The main settlement fell. Rather than surrender, men, women, and children threw themselves from the cliffs. Palmares was ultimately destroyed. The Portuguese were given land grants in the territory of Angola Janga, which they occupied as a means of keeping the kingdom from being reconstituted. Now, let me tell you something about the point of that story. And I'm going to cover this a little later, all right, is what the people from Angola that found themselves enslaved in Brazil remembered was their ability to manage a state, to establish and manage a state. With just 30,000 people, they almost 100 years, they survived until the Europeans with more powerful weapons came. Okay, we have always had the ability to manage a state. This is something that in modern times we seem to have forgotten. And that's sad that we have forgotten that.
We just haven't forgot it. We just haven't been able to apply it to our own state.
Yeah. Well, you know, every time that we have established a state or established a community where we govern the community,
right,
what happens?
It gets sabotaged.
It gets sabotaged. More than that, it gets destroyed. You know, our people are murdered. I mean, we have so many examples of times where we established a community. It was interesting that immediately after slavery, okay, black communities started popping up. Well-established, well-governed black communities started popping up during Reconstruction era. Reconstruction was an era after the Civil War, was an era of black power because so many of our people who were not that far removed from Africa, whose DNA and memory still was there for them to remember how to establish a state, how to govern.
Right.
You know, and like Nsoromma said, they were sabotaged and destroyed. Tulsa, okay? We all heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma by now. You know, one of the richest black communities ever in the country. North Carolina, where they basically came in and pulled a coup on the mixed race government that was, you know, in Wilmington, North Carolina, that was governing Wilmington, North Carolina on such a level that was so advanced and scared the hell out of those racist white people. Seneca Village in New York City, okay? The black people were ran out of there, their homes destroyed, their businesses destroyed, and we know it as Central Park now, okay? So we have always had the ability, all right?
Wow.
Yeah. Now, it was Malcolm. Malcolm said, entertainers are not leaders.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we've had some entertainers who were able to speak to our condition intelligently with great insight and very astute social observation.
Right.
First person that comes to mind when you say something like that is Tupac Shakur.
Or James Brown.
Or James Brown, my man. That's word. Chuck D.
Michael Jackson.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Prince.
Yeah.
You know,
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin
The list
Gaye.
goes on.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
The list goes on. Okay.
If you pay attention.
Yeah, if you pay attention. Okay. However, you get some fools. Some fools.
Okay.
Check this out. Okay. Have you ever heard of Ruby Rose?
Ruby Rose?
Yeah, she's a rapper.
No, I think
Yeah, me either. Might be a reason that we ain't never heard that.
Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
I gotta hear a song. Some artists only know by the song and the beat, because I may like the beat. I may not even hear the artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Today, in another episode of Skin Folk Ain't Our Kinfolk.
Skin Folk Ain't Our Kinfolk.
The rapper Ruby Rose gave non-black people a pass to say the N-word.
Nah, I ain't say that again. You said non-black people.
Non-black people. She gave them a pass to say the N-word, meaning the mayonnaise.
No, I mean, so, see?
Yeah.
That's the sabotage.
Yep.
That's the sabotage.
Right.
That's being pumped up.
Yep. That's what. Now, the MC, she was a guest on the Twitch channel hosted by Aiden Ross. Rose initially mistook the white host for a light-skinned black man, which prompted Rose to ask her if he's allowed to say the N-word.
Right.
No one's really shocked that this is the first thing he would inquire about. But it's disgusting nevertheless. Okay? So this white boy sat up there and asked if it was all right for her to say that. Her response was out of pocket. Oh, I'm personally okay with anybody saying it as long as their intent isn't to be rude. Because let me tell you something about her past and about people giving white people the pass to say the N-word. That thing is regional.
Please don't believe that.
That is regional.
I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm saying it straight to the point.
Right?
Please don't believe it.
Don't believe it.
Okay.
Don't believe that the pass she gave you is valid over here.
I mean, anywhere else outside her house,
right,
or that establishment.
That's word.
That's word. It's a new world.
Yep.
New age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some things should be just respected and put to sleep. Period. Just like certain words, certain things should be just, I can't say banned because you can't stop a person from saying and doing things, but to just, put it to sleep. Let it rest,
I heard that.
Don't say it. Try not to say it.
Yeah. Like you said, put it to rest.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you something about the N-word, and we discussed it before. The NAACP, of course, had a funeral for the N-word.
A funeral?
Yeah.
How come I ain't get?
I didn't go either, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to tell you about it because I didn't want to go. Yeah, they buried the N-word.
Oh,
yeah. But that's what it got resurrected.
Oh, man.
My man Seti, Saracen Seti, General Seti, he said it's ridiculous to think that you can bury this word.
True.
Yeah. Because until you change the social construct that makes that word relevant, it's still going to be. Until you change America from being an N-word producing machine, it's still going to be there. Okay? That's why you must choose your leaders with wisdom and forethought. To be led by a coward is to be controlled by all that the coward fears. To be led by a fool is to be led by the opportunist who controls the fool. To be led by a thief is to offer up your most precious treasures to be stolen. To be led by a liar is to ask to be told lies. To be led by a tyrant is to sell yourself and those you love into slavery.
Well, that sounds like America.
It does.
Damn.
Ooh.
I missed it, y'all.
Yes, indeed. Look, let's get this out the way. Get our disclaimer out the way.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Jared, hey, yo, Vaughn. Hey, I see y'all, Kiana, Luther, Meese. Yo, what's good? Hey, yo, and I was here early. You dig? So what's up? Hit us up. Talk to us. Okay, what you saying, Jared? We have forgotten and lost our collective and for governing ourselves. We have.
WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm Patrice.
Nsoromma in the building.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to talk about education, especially considering what's going on.
Education. Yeah, that's a good time.
Yes, indeed. Some people see it clear. They understand what is needed to make changes in our community. Okay? Patrice was a white man, a self-made millionaire.
Right.
He adopted a Florida neighborhood called Tangelo Park.
Okay.
He cut the crime rate in half and increased the high school graduation rate by 25 to 100% by giving everyone free daycare.
Okay.
And all high school graduate scholarships.
Oh,
yeah,
that's dope.
That's dope.
Was it a mixed community or white community?
It was a predominantly black community.
Oh, see, that's even extra dope.
Yeah, he saw what was wrong and he knew that he could change it.
But not only that, when you do things like that, you get tax write-offs and stuff like that, right?
Well, yeah,
Or if I really don't know. I was just asking.
Yeah, he got some tax write-offs for that.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you got these millionaires, these people that got all this money, and you can devise a plan to put other people up and see these other people that you helping out and putting up, and you inserting your name in their lives as help when they get older and be able to help somebody, your name will live through them by them helping others. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it goes. That was my man.
Yes, indeed. And see, he donated a lot of time as well as money to take a look at this neighborhood and figure out what it was that would really make a difference for the people who live there. And it's really an inspiring story, like Nsoromma said. You know, and that inspiration goes on perpetually in generations.
Right. And if you got 1,000 billionaires doing that throughout all our 50 cities, come on, man, or our 50 states, you know,
Word.
and you'll see some type of progress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's word. You know what? Now, just to give you an example, because America seems to have developed this, and maybe I'm wrong in saying haven't developed this. It has this anti-education mindset. What it's really about is they do not want the populace smart enough to see the corruption that these politicians are so involved in. Case in point, in 1949, the Costa Rican government abolished their military, stating that their army would be an army of teachers, and began using their defense funds towards free public education, which is something that is despised in America. Now, Costa Rica boasts a literacy rate of 98%. 98% of their population is literate and educated. For an example of what a nation can do, just look at Costa Rica. By abolishing the military and putting the money towards education, they were able to raise their literacy rate to 98%.
And just think, you got educated people don't fight. They got different ways of fighting. So they really wouldn't need an army because they'll be able to work it out. You know, whatever it may be. You know, that's messy.
You know?
Right.
Okay. And if you don't think that sounds impressive, 98%, the U.S. literacy rate is only 79%. Okay? Now, it may not seem like that's a big percentage rate, but you got to consider all the people in America and the fact that people between the ages of 14 and 60 read on a 6th grade level. 74% of literate people read on a 6th to 8th grade level. You know what? This is really interesting.
Right.
And I was taught this by my mentor in journalism, to write on an 8th grade level so that you would be understood. That's so crazy that you have to do that. You know, Malcolm X, one of the most articulate men to ever grace the world stage,
right?
Okay? He never used words or spoke in a way that he could not be understood by someone with a low education, reading level as low as the 6th grade.
I mean, you want a 2-year-old to understand.
Yes.
You know, now, once the brain start formulating and accepting, you want to be able to install in that.
Yeah.
So you have to break it down to where they even understand too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the basic of the basis that holds it together.
Yeah.
The basic.
You know, now the thing about the American education system right now is there is a shortage of teachers. You know, or there's just
schools, they close schools.
Yeah.
And I mean, they doing so much in America right now to keep the robot mentality for the human community in America that's working and doing the 9 to 5, 8 to 11 to 7, and all the jobs is, you know, they have to keep them. They can't make enough robots fast enough to do what all these humans are doing. So they have to keep them dumbed down. You know, and it's a process. They've been doing it for over the last however many years you can go back. Years.
Yeah.
So
well, you know, it's something that in California, right, for instance, you know, one of the places where Berkeley University was free. It was free public education university. And it was very highly accredited university. Okay?
Right.
And then along came Governor Ronald Reagan, a racist bastard named in hell, and made the devil sodomize him with a pitchfork. He decided that education, well, he didn't just decide, it just was always his mindset, that education was for the elite and that poor people should not. If you couldn't afford an education, you should be not allowed to be educated. That's the dumbest mess.
But look how that thinking is running our country.
Mm-hmm.
It's
ruining our country.
It's ruining it.
Yeah.
That's the thought and mentality of these so-called people that we put in office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we put them in office, they ain't saying that when before we put them in there.
No,
they said, "Oh, we can help you out. We're gonna do this. We're gonna build 7 new schools." And you know, they talking for you. Then when they get in there, they turn their back on you.
That's what.
And that's when we should take them out in the street and stone them.
I'm with you on that.
It's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't representing. That's just like you on the street. If I give you the package or whatever, and you go and mess it up, and you don't bring my money back, and my kids need stuff like that, we got a problem.
We got a problem.
So it's just crazy.
The complaint is that there's a teacher shortage. Actually, it's a shortage of jobs that treat educators with dignity and pay that they deserve. These are people that we're entrusting with the education of our children, which means we're entrusting them with our future. Okay? And what do? We treat them like crap. Okay? Remember, when y'all told all the teachers they should quit if they didn't like the crappy pay and public hate, they took your advice. Just in Texas. Houston, 800 teacher vacancies. Fort Bend, 288 teacher vacancies. Aldine, Texas, teacher vacancies, 452. Cy-Fair, Texas, 669 teacher vacancies. Many local school districts are facing critical shortage of teachers because you treat them like crap. Right? See? When this is from, who is this? From Pharaoh Cherub. He said, when I first started reading revolutionary literature, I was surprised to find that these people who were made out to be villains were actually talking about ending exploitation and suffering. Then I realized this is why we don't read the words in history class. Yeah. The bourgeoisie has to teach you to hate shadows first, so you reflexively dismiss revolutionary writing, ideals, practices, without ever understanding or coming into contact with the actual content.
And it's crazy because when we, as blacks, stand up for ourselves and on our own 2 feet, we become terrorists and militia groups and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But yet we haven't been the ones hanging and dragging and burning up churches and, you know,
just murdering people.
Yeah, we haven't been dumb people, you know. So it's just something you gotta give.
Yeah. Now, just an example, all right, of what's not being taught. I heard Jane Elliott, who's considered a wild card. Yeah, she's considered a white ally by many of us. She said, American education is indoctrination. And she said, unfortunately, she participated in that because she was going along with the curriculum and teaching that George Washington never told a lie and cut down the cherry tree and all of those other kind of crap. Right. And she figured this would change by the time her grandchildren got in school. So she asked her 9-year-old grandchild, what are you learning in class? Oh, well, we're learning about the Great Migration across America and how the West was civilized and this, that, and the other, right? Did they teach you about the Trail of Tears? No. So she explained that to her. The child went back to school and asked about what her grandmother, Jane Elliott, told her. The teacher grabbed her by the hand and drug her out in the hall and said, don't ever bring that up in class again. Because it's not part of the curriculum and not part of what we're teaching. And we'll not learn to be a good American asking questions like that. So she was chastised for trying to escape the indoctrination. Right. Okay? Here's the foolishness. Because eventually young people will start asking questions.
Right? They want to know.
They want to know. So when they ask, why was there a civil war? Why did the South want to leave the country? And the teacher is like, oh, well, they just had a conflict. Okay, well, where all these black people come from? Well, they were involuntary immigrants who were involuntarily relocated. And you think that little student is not going to have sense enough to know that what you're basically saying is these people were kidnapped? That's hell out of here.
Their wording is so messy.
Mm-hmm.
Messy. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. They can make you think you want it and you really don't need it. You know what I'm saying? So, wow.
Yeah. You know? Now, just to show you how deep this is, all right, that a Florida teacher who resigned after his Black Heroes pictures are taken down. The school district says we're conducting a full investigation into the incident. Okay. A teacher from Escambia, let me get that right. Escambia County Public School resigned this week. It's in Florida, y'all, after what he called racist actions by a school district employee, according to the Pensacola News Journal. After decorating his classroom with Black historical leaders, the district employee in question took them down. Michael James had put up a bulletin board at O.J. Sims Elementary School with images of Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, Colin Powell, George Washington Carver, and Barack Obama. Okay? This district employee came and said that the pictures were age inappropriate. He said it really floored him. He said he's been teaching special education for 15 years, and it just really floored him when she did that. You know, this was in Florida, the land where learning even the smallest piece of Black history is considered dangerous and alarming. In Florida, they had basically outlawed Black history. Now, you go in any class, and there are pictures of the president or presidents. But in this class, putting a picture up of a Black president, this district employee came up with the idea that this was age inappropriate. Okay? The reason James chose the board's theme because the majority of students and residents in the neighborhood that surround the school are Black, and he wanted to motivate his students with inspirational leaders they could easily look up to and see themselves.
You know why they so mad? For all the kids that was born them 8 years Obama was in president, they only seen a Black man as a president.
How about that?
As a president.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they really, really mad about that.
Yes.
That's injected in their kids' head. So
James, the teacher, 61 years old, of Daphne, Alabama, sent his letter to the governor of Florida. He officially resigned from his position as an exceptional student education teacher at O.J. Sims Elementary School. Superintendent Smith said teachers are permitted to decorate their classrooms with educational materials, and he was unaware of any policies that would prohibit a teacher from displaying pictures of inspirational African-American heroes.
I mean, that's what you send your kids to school for.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, okay, what's his first name? Michael James. Okay, is a white man. See, all of them ain't messed up. Yeah, a couple of them, they I told you. I still know what you're saying now. I heard that, brother. That's word. WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah.
The Open Eye.
Yeah, damn.
With Nsoromma.
That's the kid.
Yes, sir. We got it for you. Little music.
Yo, what's good, y'all? God, you stupid. I know I was beating them down. They was up, yo. You know, you know. What's up, Daddy? Of course. Urugu. Yes, okay, Florida. Not surprising at all. Oh, yeah, Florida. Tracy, what's up?
All right.
Now at that part. Oh, yo, what's that part there? Okay.
Yeah,
That's you?
That's me. Early summer about
Oh.
Gibbs.
I thought that was Santana or somebody.
Oh man,
You got skills, buddy.
Thank
You got skills, buddy. You hear that? Go pick that up.
Yes,
It's the
indeed.
kid.
Buddy. Look, one of the things I always talk about, of course, is handling stuff with the cops. But before I get there, I want to get to, well, I'm going to get to this. There you go. This was tragic. Within 50 seconds of arriving, police officer punched the young lady out. Now her parents in Illinois want to know why this 19-year-old was killed by police after a restaurant dispute, and they are filing a wrongful death lawsuit. The parents of an Illinois teen want answers after their daughter went to pick up dinner at a restaurant drive-thru but never made it home. The family of Alexis Wilson, 19, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Illinois police officers accused of punching and killing the teen. Alexis was the sweetest girl in our family. Like, she absolutely loved everybody, said Kara Wilson, mother of Alexis Wilson. On the one-year anniversary of her daughter's death, Kara Wilson, of course, is still heartbroken by what happened to her daughter in July of 2021. Homewood is about 25 miles south of Chicago, and the night Wilson was killed, she ordered food from Baba's famous steak and lemonade restaurant, but something was wrong with her order. Kara Wilson says the manager refused to correct the order or give a refund, causing Alexis to go through the drive-thru to try and get another employee's attention. Her food wasn't ready. There was a dispute at the window between Alexis and one of the workers, and the worker got pissed off and said, "We're not giving you your order, basically, and we're not giving you back your money." And when she disputed that, they called the cops. And what happens when you call the cops on a black person? You're weaponizing the goddamn police. And here they come, and they murdered that girl. Beat her to death. All right? Look, when you're dealing with the cops, I want to thank you.
You got the slave patrol badges.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
That's I think that's the most wrongest thing ever. I think that's the most wrongest thing.
I heard that. Yeah.
It's saddening.
It is. It is. And one of the things I tell you, I want to thank Tracy Wright for posting. Tracy Wright. Tracy Johnson for posting this. Thank you, Queen.
Thank you, Queen.
Yep. And I tell you, look, when you're dealing with the gang in blue, with the slave patrol, your goal is to go home. Don't let your ego and emotion get you to fall into their trap of escalating the situation so they can kill you, because that's their goal. All right? Know your rights when dealing with the police. You don't have to answer any questions. All you have to tell cops is your name and address. It's almost always bad to talk to cops, even in casual chats or arguments.
I mean, I thought they say from the beginning, you have the right to remain silent. So you ain't even gotta say anything. If you got your ID on you, hand them your ID. I don't do questions, and I don't consent to any searches.
That's right.
There you go. And you don't have to say anything else. Now, if you get killed from that, which we as black people do, because they say you gotta give me your name. You don't give me your name, you going to jail.
Right.
And then you say, okay, well, take me to jail. Then they try to put your arm behind your back. They try to say you resistance, slam you to the car, bust your face and knock your teeth all out, and you gotta go to work the next day. I mean, these guys, man, some of the people, some of the ones in the badges, man, it's like, well, I ran into one last night.
Did you?
And yeah, I was coming around from, by the baseball stadium down at the riverfront, right?
Okay.
The police is a two-way road. The police was blocking off the one side of the road, which is the coming, and I was going.
Okay.
So I was coming towards the police, and he had the road blocked off on the side with it coming to me.
Okay.
So there was still some room on the side of his truck for me to go around and make the right turn. Okay. Because it looked like it was something going on that side. Okay. And it was nowhere else to go. So when I got up to there and I started creeping through, he comes running out. Yo, what you doing? What you doing? Get out of here! Back up, you stupid MFer. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And he tripping on me like, I'm like, yo, you crazy? So I just sat there and looked at him. I was trying to get his badge number and all of that because I know what to do. I'll go to the disciplinary review board on you. And I'll put a letter in letting them know how racist and how you were acting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, they out here. They kill us at will.
And will. Now, the reason we're doing this is one of the things that Nsoromma said. You had the right to remain silent. This is called the Miranda Act, which the Supreme Court has recently ruled that the cops are not qualified, are not required to inform you. Okay? They can use anything you say to get you or other people in trouble, whether you did anything illegal or not. Say this. I'm going to remain silent. I want to talk to a lawyer. The police have to really stop questioning you. Cops can and do lie. They will lie to your ass.
If they kill you, you know they're going to lie.
Heck yeah.
Come on, man.
Yep. Yeah. Cops use all kind of tricks to scare us and get us in trouble.
Us as black people,
us
not white people.
people.
White people don't get this, so this doesn't apply to you.
Right.
And you know how we say that? It's a black thing.
Yes,
well, that's a white thing.
That's a white thing.
We don't. Right. It's not the same.
It's not the same. They make up laws that don't even exist. Say you have to answer questions or allow searches when you don't. Even claim they have evidence against you when they don't. Don't believe them. If a cop acts like they're trying to cut you a break, it may be a trick to get evidence against you, even if you haven't broken the law. Now, how would they do that? Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and let you go home. All you got to do is open up your trunk. Okay? You open up your trunk, he stands there and looks around, and as soon as you look away for a half a second, he done planted some drugs in your trunk, and now your ass is going to jail.
Right.
When you protest against this, because you know you didn't have anything, oh, you're resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Right. Now you did.
Now you did.
Right.
That's what.
That's crazy.
And you don't have to allow a search. Cops may try to search you, your car, or your house when they don't have the right to do so. Don't empty your pockets, open your trunk, or help them search in any way. If the cops ask to try to search you, say clearly and repeatedly, I do not consent to a search. And you say that repeatedly to make sure it's picked up by their body cam. Okay? If they search you anyway, don't cooperate. But do not physically resist, because that just gets you in more trouble. They're looking to escalate the situation and get you emotionally involved.
Now, you don't have to cooperate, but you have to follow their instructions because their lives is in danger. So you cooperate enough to say, okay, well, they take me down. Well, do what you have to do, book me, whatever you have to do. I'd rather talk to the judge because he can't decide your fate. Supposedly, the judge is supposed to be right, but they take it up on their own hand and in their own hands to beat you, kill you, and try to get their story together through you.
Judge, jury, and executioner right there
all
on the
in
spot.
the same spot. And that's not the American law, supposedly, but it is for you know, that's messy, man.
You know, am I free to go? If a cop approaches you, you can leave at any time unless they're detaining you. Say to them, am I being detained or am I free to go? If the cop doesn't give a clear answer, ask again. Being detained means you can't leave, but you still don't have to answer questions or allow searches.
So at what point do you think the police officer has turned this into harassment?
It's usually the second they pulled you over for nothing. You know what? If you're riding down the road in a white neighborhood as a black person, and a cop passes you by and looks at you and immediately does a U-turn to pull you over, he's harassing you right there. Right there. He's harassing you because you probably haven't broken any laws. He's going to say, you're rolling stop at the stop sign.
They look at black people just like that in certain areas.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Oh, yeah. Right now.
So right now. What is the process that we can give them or tell them to do to let it be known that these officers are doing that? Who could they call to say, oh, I work every day, I pay all my taxes, and I live the American way, and this particular police officer harassed me for no reason. Like, who do you?
Well, the first thing you got to do is get past that situation that you're in with this racist cop who pulled you over for nothing. That's the first thing you got to do. Once you do that, then you file a complaint with your local judicial police review board and what have you. If you don't have a police review board, you see a lawyer, okay? And make sure it's one of those lawyers that is not improperly connected with the police. Because there are some out there. I have one, all right? I had a lawyer who was Big John O'Brien, an Irishman, okay? And though he was connected with the police, he was not part of the culture. And they actually couldn't stand him because of the way that he helped black people, poor people, and, you know, other people of color. Oppressed. Yeah. Okay. So they really couldn't stand this thing, you know. But the thing is, the main thing is, when you get in that situation, is to survive that situation in order to report the discrimination that you have suffered from the gang in blue, the slave patrol bastards. It's the WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yo, what's good? Yo, I was by the real front, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, they had a black dude in the cut. He was handicapped or something. He's crazy. He was over there in the corner, and all these cops was around him. So I was like, yo, I'm glad I did pull up. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. He might have been trying to do something to him instead of calling the ambulance or something. You know what I'm saying? That could be you or me in that situation. I'm looking at that, yeah. Like, yo, is there somebody I know?
Or what?
WHGE 95.3. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I'm sure by now you all have heard that the FBI served a search warrant on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
Yeah. They searched me for.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he gave them all the paperwork. If I'm cooperating with you, why are you running in my house?
Okay, because he didn't cooperate.
They wrote a letter saying he did.
No, but he didn't give up a whole lot of stuff. And let me tell you something. When a corrupt capitalist holds classified information, he has a plan. And that plan with this classified information that he didn't turn in is to sell it.
He said he's going to go spy me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Republicans were saying, hey, unseal the warrant. You need to unseal the warrant so we know what's in there. Unseal it. Okay. Right. Garland Merrick I always get his name messed up. He's the Attorney General.
Right.
He said, you know what? Okay. They found out what was in that warrant. He said, well, wait a minute. No, you don't want to unseal the warrant. Oh, too late. That's what y'all wanted. Here it is. He's under investigation. Trump is under investigation for violating the Espionage Act.
Right.
Okay. Various classified documents. Okay. And this crap about they could he's the president, he could unclassify. No, it don't work like that. How do I know? Because I was in the Air Force and I had a TSSCI clearance. That means a top secret, sensitive, compartmented information clearance.
Right.
So I had access to clearance. I had one of the highest clearances that you could have. Okay. Anybody without a clearance or even with a clearance, okay, could not see the information that I could see without a need to know.
Right.
Okay. All right. So what's he do? He gets on there and no, I didn't do it like that, and this, that, and the other, and I had a right to have this stuff, and no. The FBI said, oh hell no, we coming down there and get that stuff because you're talking about nuclear secrets that he is likely to sell to who? His boy T. Okay. So what he did was he amped up the propaganda machine. Okay. And got all these cult members in the white supremacist Trump cult to react violently to this. They're talking about threatening people and all this. A gunman tried to break into the Cincinnati FBI office with a AR-15 and a nail gun. All right, got into it.
They banned the nail guns now?
I guess so. He's shooting nail guns at people. Yeah. You know, it's a tool as far as I knew.
Nail guns.
Yeah.
A pistol is a tool, but
it
depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. I don't want to get caught up on the gun. I don't want to get caught up on it. Yeah, he got a nail gun. All right. Well, you know, he ran off and they had a standoff with him in a damn cornfield. They tried to check this out now. This is somebody that came, attacked the FBI, right. And they said, we tried not to use lethal response to this. But when he raised up his gun, we went ahead and shot his ass. Yeah, you should have.
And that's crazy because he had to raise the gun up. If it was a black guy just running straight over there with no weapons, bringing some donuts, they'd have shot him.
They'd have shot him. That's what.
That is so messy, man. That is messy, man.
I'm telling you.
Oh my
That's
God.
the stuff we're going to have to come back to next week because we are actually went through this hour so fast, it's crazy. All right? But let me tell you about this because a lot of us deal with this. Okay? Credit score have a racist purpose. Did you know that? Credit scores were actually only invented in 1989. Okay? Before credit scores existed, all you had to do was walk into a bank and you got approved for a mortgage on the spot, a mortgage or a loan, right then and there, basically. Now, the reason credit scores were invented in the first place was in response to the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which banned banks from denying credit based on race. Because of the act, certain people were able to afford
nice homes in the white community.
Right.
Right.
Because of the act, you know, they were able to buy a house.
Right.
So white people were afraid of the idea of black people buying a house next door to them. So they needed to come up with a new way to gatekeep buying houses.
Oh, no. He can't live next to me.
No.
What?
Yeah. So they made a system where you had to go into debt and pay off credit and prove that you could pay back this mortgage that you're asking for from the bank. Despite the fact that for years and years, banks didn't have a problem lending money to anyone for any reason. You could be a convicted felon and still get a goddamn mortgage. Yeah. So between 1976, when this act was passed, and 1979, all the credit companies consolidated together to form a system to deny loans. By 1995, all banks used this system to judge whether or not certain people who were not allowed to build credit in the first place to get a loan. So people with low credit scores could not buy a house over here where people with a high credit scores live, white people. But they could buy a house in this area here.
Where the garbage dump.
With low credit scores were regulated. This is redlining evolved. Yes. All right, all right. And as we always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority
who treat you as an option.
WHGE 95.3 FM. This has been The Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma.
Thanks for joining.
Yo, thank y'all for joining us. Y'all, thanks for hanging in there with us. Yeah, you dumb. But anyway, JC, yo, I see you. Yo, Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Hey, yo, we doing it. Listen, our time is up. Mr. Gibbs. Hey, yo, Nsoromma streaming all platforms. Hey, yo, Mr. Gibbs.
Hey. Thanks for joining us. I hope you learned something. Sometimes I think we might have to increase our hours because that hour go by so fast. That's words. But hey, we having a good time, and in spite of the harsh information that we sometimes get. And yes, I see all the comments coming on, and I will definitely get back with you. All right. Thanks for joining us. One love. Peace. Yaga.